What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and to another video on the Golf. As you can see, the Golf is not in the shot. So the Golf is sorted and ready, sat on its trolley to go off to be blasted. So I'll talk more about all of that in the next video. This video is not going to be about the show and the car itself. This video is about engine, steering, braking, things of that nature that I want to be sorting out and having rolling on at the same time as the shell being done, so that we don't get to the end of finishing the shell and then start thinking about everything else. I want everything going on at once, so the whole project comes together a little bit quicker. The past few videos I've had, obviously, there's been quite a lot of talking and going over things again and again and again. That was because the processes that I was doing weren't, there wasn't really a lot more to say, really. I mean, I could have put a video out that was an hour long of me scraping sand deadening off, but I don't think anyone would want to watch it. So I tried to make it as interesting and as sort of talking and everything as I could do. Hopefully this video will be a bit more seeing me doing things. So I might as well stop waffling and let's just jump straight into the video. Let's roll. Right, guys, engines. So from the beginning, my plan has always been that I was going to be keeping this Mk2 engine in the car, because I know it ran when it came out of the car. Although I did only have it run on brake cleaner, that was because the fuel pump didn't work. I'm now leaning towards going back and putting the original engine back into the car. I think just for a bit more sort of originality to the car. And I think it'll probably be worth a little bit more with the original engine in, as opposed to an engine that's not supposed to be in it, as these cars get more sought after, and ones that haven't been engine changed, drivetrain swapped and all things like that. So I'm leaning towards putting the original engine back in. Now I need to speak to Darren and find out why he took this engine out originally. I've had a play and it runs free, but the first job that it's going to be is we'll get the gearbox off and we'll get the engine mounted onto the engine stand, and we will at least take the head off, and the bottom end and the sump off to get in the engine and just sort of see and have a look if we can see why it was taken out in the first place. But that's where I am at the minute. I'm leaning towards putting the original engine back in, so let's get the gearbox off this, get this mounted to the engine stand, start taking it to pieces. So, gearbox is off. Let's set the clutch and flywheel off, and we can then get it mounted onto the engine stand. Time for the Haynes manual. Remove the clutch release plates. Right, so we've got a flywheel and the friction plate are off. Which don't look too bad, but we will be putting a new one in. Now it looks as though you've got to get this spring out and get this spring plate off to be able to access the bolts that are behind it. Now hopefully it doesn't hit me in the face, because that wouldn't be very good, would it? That's that one off. That's that off, and there are the bolts then. So now we know how to remove that from there. I haven't got a locking tool, So I'm going to do it with an impact gun. 17mm. Let's work this off. So now we've got all that out of the way, we will mount this to the engine, which I think can go either way. It will go that way. So, bolt the space at the top. See if that stays on this stand. John, pretty strong. So, start taking it to pieces. So now the engine is up on here, I'm just going to start stripping and taking a few bits off to get down to sort of the long engine, if you like. And then we can take the head off and see what internally is going on. I have just messaged Darren that I bought the car from to find out why he removed this engine originally, if there was a major problem with it. I'm hoping it's nothing too bad that we can't resolve, because I am thinking now I'd like to put the original engine back into the car, just to keep that little bit of sort of history there with the car and keep the car right. That is the engine sort of stripped. Now again, I've just gone to use my gimbal and it needs an update on the software, so I'll try and be as still as I can. Hopefully it's all right. So the engine's stripped down a bit. So we've got a few items laid out on the bench, Pulley's clutch and covers and water pump and all sorts of stuff. Engine's on the stand, and inside, other than a bit of dirt and dust, it doesn't actually look too bad at the top end, which is pretty nice. So we will use the trusty Haynes manual to find out the sequence for undoing these, and we'll get the cam out, and then we'll get the head bolts undone and get the head bolts out. And now the head bolts are, if I can find it, on my bench of a mess, same as what I used on the T5 luckily. So it's a 12mm multi-point tool, whatever they are, spline bit, and that fits in there nicely, so I'll be able to whip them off. But I want to try and do them in sequence so we know it's all right. So this engine, hopefully we can then get the oil drain, get it turned over, and I'm going all out on this. Get all the big end bolts undone, get the crank out, get the pistons and rods out, and see what the bores are saying, see what the pistons are saying. I'm just thinking, if I'm going to be rebuilding and refurbishing the car, the engine's out, I might as well strip it to pieces. Gearbox, I'm not 100% whether I'm going to do that or get it done yet. I'd like to do it myself, and hopefully it's, yeah, we'll see. I'll have a read up online and see what the deal is with that, see what you're supposed to change and things, and we'll get it cleaned up. Luckily the guy next door's got he's a vapor blaster, so it's like water and media to clean up all the aluminium parts. So hopefully it'll all look a lot nicer. Oil's been draining for the best part of an hour. I'm going to bang the bung back in, some bung back in, so we don't get too much oil going everywhere. I have chucked some cardboard on the floor in case we get any spillages, so that up. That's nipped up. Wipe. So that's cleaned, move the bucket of oil. Get rid of that. Get rid of the oil responsibly, obviously. Just stand the engine back up. And then we'll go to this. So if you're doing anything to any car, get a Haynes manual. They're brilliant. I've got one for pretty much every car I've ever owned. And it just tells you what you need to know. If you can't find it on the internet, more likely it's in here. So you do need to do this. Some people may not, but I want to find the torque settings and the torque sequence for the cam and for the head, so I can do it all in reverse, and we know that it's right, and I'm not going to go damaging anything. What is that number? 25. So see if we can find it. Tightening sequence. So hopefully you can see that we've got this diagram here, and it's pretty standard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's a sequence. So I'm now going to do it all in reverse. And what I'm going to do is just get a breaker bar, sort of crack every one off in sequence, and then we'll go for sort of a turn on each one to loosen it off, and then go back through. So that is for the taking the head off. There isn't really one, by the looks of it, for the cam, but I'm going to go in exactly the same order as you would with the head, because it's a pretty standard way of doing it. So I'm looking, that's a 13. They're all pretty loose now, which just takes the pressure off the cam in the right places at the right time and just stops it from snapping, because they can snap. There we go. I'm going to put some gloves on, because this bit's going to get dirty. So the reason for doing it in sequence is because you've obviously got the pressure and tension of the valves and the valve springs on the cam. As the cam's pushing them down, that's loose now. So as the cam's pushing onto those, the valves are down and the load's pushing down on it. You've got the pressure from that spring pushing up. So that is why you really do it in sequence. And then when you're putting it on the bench and putting it back together, you need to put all of these in the correct place. Now, that one's obviously obvious where it goes, but if you look at this one, see that little 2 that's stamped on it? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they need to go back on in the same place. And luckily, they're stamped from factory. They're on there. Remove the cam and take this carrier off of this end and this seal. He says, as he can't get it off, we'll leave that alone for now. Let's get the breaker bar on the with the right socket on. We'll start on doing the head. So you can do this. I think it's a 10mm Allen key, but we've got a proper spline tool for it, which was the same as the T5. And we will now undo the head. So. All these head bolts need replacing anyway because they're a stretch bolt. So when we rebuild the engine, there'll be obviously new head gasket and everything going in, but we'll be replacing the head bolts as well because they're a non-reusable item. There we go, bolts out. So I imagine this has been there for quite some time. There we go, brake seal, and it'll come off. There is the head. So if it's ever had their gasket done, they've put a genuine gasket on, which is nice. If not, it's the original one, and the engine's never been to pieces. Bores look nice. You've still got all the honing marks in there, which is quite nice. Bit of a lip towards the top, but I don't think that's anything major. The block's going to have to be all rebored and new rings to suit anyway, so hopefully we've got no oil in it, or not a lot of oil in it, so let's rotate it over and we'll get the sump off. But I've got a feeling oil's going to go absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Like this. Let us whip this sump off. All the lovely oil. Cool. So. Quite nice in here, to be fair. Oil pickup, the oil pump. So let's get that off first. 13. Smells like a bit of burnt oil, but it's an old engine, so I suppose it's to be expected. I'm back in there so we know where to go. So now we'll take the distributor drive off. These two 13s on the end. And supposedly she comes out, but lever bar it out. Make sure to not damage anything, but there she goes. And there is the drive for the distributor. Put that on the bench and put it back the way it was so we know that way. And then 2 screws, 2 bolts go with that. So it appears that this crank pulley bolt is absolutely solid. So, any tips on how to undo that one? I've just had a go for about half an hour trying to get it undone. Impact gun, breaker bar, all sorts. It will not come undone. I'm going to have to leave the crank in, but I'm going to take the pistons and rods out now. And just hope that I can get that undone at a later day. But any tips on how to undo that? I've got it's that 2-foot breaker bar and it's just solid, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, any tips guys? Let me know. First of all, let's remove the pistons and rods. There. These want to all go back in, same order, same weight, same everything. Preferably without damaging anything. It says, so, one piston and one rod. Back on. Same way it came off. Bolt back on, nuts on as well. So we know where they all came from. So then guys, that is the engine, the Mark 1 engine that's going back in. Now, I've heard back from Darren and the guy that I bought the car from. The only reason that the original Mark 1 engine came out of the car and the Mark 2 engine went in was because the Mark 1 engine, I believe, I don't know where the clocks are, I believe is done, and the shell has done 140,000 miles, so it's done quite a lot of miles. And he just said he felt that the engine and gearbox were a little bit tired. Had the opportunity to put the Mark II engine in for quite cheap. So I went for that option. Why wouldn't you? With what I'm doing and stripping it all down completely, I don't see getting this engine sorted out being too big of a problem. I've stripped it and taken it all to pieces. It doesn't, nothing really is jumping out looking too bad. For the mileage it's done, I'm not sure whether it's been rebuilt in the past, but the mileage it's done, it doesn't look too bad. So all the gaskets and everything have got the Audi Volkswagen stamp on, so I'd have thought they were original. So this engine is in bits, as you can see. I'm going to take it, well, I'm going to make a phone call in a moment, and hopefully I'm then going to take it over to garage to go in their parts wash and it'll be cleaned up so we can get it back and know how bad it is. If there's anything, we can like give it a bit of an inspection. I'm then probably going to give the guys a call that did the work on the T5 head about honing the block and supplying new rings, supplying all new bearings and everything for that. And the head, I'll probably give him to skim the head and supply a new head gasket, and then probably reseat all the valves, because that machine is far better than sitting and lapping valves in. So we'll probably get him to do that, and then again I'll just get him to supply me with sort of a head rebuild kit. Whether he does the head rebuild or not, I'm not too sure. I'd like to do as much of this one as I can myself. But yeah, the plan with it is going to be, obviously now it's all in bits, is a complete rebuild. So I don't really think there's a lot more to say on this one. As ever, I'm so thankful to everybody that watches, likes, shares, comments, emails me, messages me. It is absolutely amazing. It still blows me away. Thank you as well to Sealy Tools for working with me and the tools that I'm using. Like I've said, the engine stand and the impact wrench, I'll put a link to those in the description along with a link to their website. Do go and take a look, because they are really good tools at reasonable price. So do go and have a look at their website, see what you can get. Equally, thank you to Michael and the guys at Machine 7 for sending me over the banner. They've sent me some hand cleaner and a few other bits, which is really useful, and some merch as well, which is always nice because it's getting a bit cold. So yeah, plenty of jumpers on. Although I got that cold yesterday, I have ordered the heater for the workshop, so that will be a little video on its own of how I'm going to heat this place, which I think you guys, if you're working in a garage or a shed or something, doing whatever, perfect. Real inexpensive way of providing real good heat for a small space. Hopefully with this ceiling, it'll work in here. So, I'm going to do a little bit of a shameless plug now as well. DAC Industries. So I've got T-shirts available that I'll put a picture of here. I'm just about to place an order for hoodies as well, which is what I've got on now. I'm going to go for a slight change on the hoodies this time. We're going to get rid of this logo, and we're going to have this logo smaller on the front, I think. Stickers, I'll put a picture of us here as well. We've got white stickers and oil stickers, about 75mm in diameter. As I've mentioned in a previous video, this whole YouTube and the workshop and the car restoration thing has come about sort of to do with the coronavirus outbreak. So last year, me and my wife had a real bad couple of years, and both had breakdowns last year, which were sort of due to, I suppose, work and the stresses of work and sort of living. And we took the decision to sell up. So sold my car, sold my van, my camper van, and bought a crafter van, which we're now living in. Which, if you go to Dan and Abby on YouTube, which I'll put a link to in the description as well, that's another YouTube channel we've got where there's a full series on me building the van that we currently live in. Idea with that being, we were going to have a couple of years, 2 or 3 years out, and travel the UK, possibly Europe, just to sort of reset and enjoy life. We moved out of our house on the 16th of March, and on the 23rd of March, on Abigail's 30th birthday, the country went into lockdown, so we haven't really been anywhere. Sat around and got bored, and this whole thing came out of being bored. Did the T5, and then the Golf was an opportunity, so I took that on, and then the workshop came from that. So, I don't have an income. This really, at the moment, I'm trying to do YouTube full time to give you, and the whole trying to get 2 videos out of it really is quite a lot of work. So I mean, if you guys want to buy a sticker or a piece of merch or something along them lines, it really does help the channel, as does liking and commenting as well. It gets the videos out there more, and the audience is obviously then going to get bigger through that, and more opportunities will come from the channel growing. So everybody that has already bought, thank you all so much. There was a massive, like at the beginning when I first did them all, I had so many sales, and it was quite a lot to keep up with, but I'm so thankful for that. T-shirts are running low on stock, but if there's enough sort of interest, I can do and restock the T-shirts and get them out. I am working on another design as well, which I'm hoping to have out in a couple of months, which I think will look pretty cool. So get one of them all, get one of them all. Help the channel out, help me out, and we'll be able to keep trying to put 2 videos a week out for you guys to watch, and hopefully get this car built and done, and then we'll get something else done, because my idea now is I'm running with this YouTube thing. I really want to run with it. I really enjoy doing it. I really enjoy creating videos. I really enjoy hearing back from you guys as well, and all the comments and everything. So yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that has already bought from me, and also a massive thank you to everybody that is going to buy from me, and everyone that watches, likes and subscribes. I know I keep saying it in every video, but I am so thankful for it all. I really am. So then, I think that's enough of me waffling again. We'll leave this one there. As ever, and I've just said thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully next week's video will be a bit more interesting, and we'll get the car shipped off to the blasters. But anyway, until next time, enjoy.